Okay, folks, welcome to the West Seattle Boat Ramp on a beautiful end of June day that we've got the big ducktail spoiler on this 3.2 Carrera. And of course, in classic Porsche fashion, you have some peeling on the paint here on the M. I'm gonna do this for you folks. I'm gonna try to get in, and technically I fit. Okay, and we're back, baby. Okay, here we go, folks. We're gonna have a little bit of spirited driving. Okay, I'm getting understeer. Brake in a straight line. Throttle out of the corner. No ABS. Modulate those brakes. Okay, folks, welcome to the West Seattle Boat Ramp on a beautiful end of June day. As you can see, we have a fantastic 1988 911 Carrera coupe. A few of the specs. This has a, like I said, a 3.2 liter flat six, hence the name, the 3.2 Carrera. Horsepower, 217 horsepower, 5,900 RPM, 195 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800 pounds at 4,800 RPM. Transmission, a 5-speed manual. Curb weight of 2,800 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 6.3 seconds. We'll test that today. I don't think we're gonna even get close. Top speed of 152 miles per hour. So yeah, those are some great attributes of the car. As we walk around the car, you will notice this is a narrow body 911. My preferred sort of 911. I like it when it's small, nimble, narrow. The wide wheel arches that you would find on a 930 are not here, although these appear like they may have been rolled out. I don't know, but let's just assume for now they are not. The narrow body, again, like I said, is preferred. Now, when you look at the rear end, you will see that we've got the big ducktail spoiler on this 3.2 Carrera. That was an option from the factory. These spoilers, if you ever look at a real 930, you will notice that there is quite a difference between a 930 spoiler and this spoiler. From the top and the back, it really looks identical, but it's not. That 930 spoiler was actually not for aerodynamics. It was because they had to fit the intercooler. So what do I mean by that? Why don't we open up the trunk here, which you can do by pulling this inside of the door jamb. So, as you could imagine, there's not a lot of room in here for an intercooler. So with the 930 turbos, what they did was they put a boxed intercooler on the top here, and so it did not fit within the lines of the body here for the rear deck lid. And so what they had to do was find some room, and so they put the big ducktail spoiler on that essentially fit over the top. Now, you do have some radiators up here on the top, and that's because you did have, even without the spoiler, you did have some function up top for some venting. And you can see that here, that's where the venting is. Oh, here's a nice little touch. You've got your rear wiper. I wonder if it's best, or good practice to lift this guy up before you open the rear hood. But possibly. So you can see, it barely fits inside of the body of the car. So imagine adding that rear intercooler with that slope back. Of course, you would need the big rear deck lid. It's amazing to me, you can still see everything. In a modern Porsche, you cannot see anything at all, but you've got, that beautiful flat six engine. You have this big fan here telling you, yes, in fact, it is an air-cooled Porsche, which the purists do love. Move up front. Similar to the rear, you've got a pull here to open the front. It's actually keyed, so you can lock the front. And so even if someone were to break into the car, they wouldn't be able to access your belongings. Now, it is a little bit finicky here to get the front hood open. You have to push this to the side so it'll open up. Honestly, substantial trunk space. Now, I believe underneath here you probably have a spare tire and the like. This car, being for sale, has a number of things that the owners included, including this very cool old Porsche inter-air compressor. Porsche branded, at least. Let's see, what do we got in here? We have some tools, it looks like. So maybe the tool kit, as well as some other bits and bobs. So this car comes with some things. I'm sure the Bring a Trailer listing has all of that shown. But you can see, nice large front hood. And of course, in classic Porsche fashion, you have some peeling on the paint here on the emblem. That's because all of us Porsche owners, I myself included, instead of putting our hand on the paint, we put it on the emblem. So that is the sign of a car that has been driven. Now, this car has the fog lights, optional extra, down here on the bottom. Now, by 88, they're more integrated into the bumper, which I like. The earlier cars, they were really just sort of tacked on. If you were to look at like an early 930 or an early 911S. Coming around, it has that beautiful Porsche profile. I remember seeing at one point, it had to be 20, 25 years ago, that when a kid draws a sports car, they just naturally draw a 911. They don't know that they're drawing a 911. They just think with that fast back makes the car go fast. I think they are right. The car does come with Fuchs wheels. They are keyed here, as you can see, so they do have some theft deterrence. Looks like a pretty new pair of Continentals with, wow, absolutely a ton of tread left on them. It does come with the rear wiper and the sunroof as an option. You do have those impact bumpers, which here, you know, US regulation dictated that bumpers had to survive, bumpers had to work, I believe, at 5 miles an hour. And so Porsche, knowing this, they just built it right in. It wasn't like they just tacked some stuff on, similar to what BMW and Mercedes did. This was integral to the design, which they sold worldwide, unlike BMW and Mercedes, where a Euro bumper was, in fact, different than a US market bumper. You do have these bumperettes, which come off, but I think all in all works for the design of the car. I do like the light bar here. I think that's what modern Porsches are trying to emulate, is that classic all the way across red light bar. Makes me think of the 959. Beautiful car, of course. Like I said, comes with the sunroof option. Okay, moving on into the car. Actually, before we go in, let's look in the back seat. Okay, so here, accessing the back seat, pretty simple. You pull this lever here, and wherever you had the seat before you pulled the lever, that will give you the spot at which it returns to. Excuse the camera gear here, folks. You do have folding seats. Aha, so what you do, I don't know if you can see down here, but there is a red lever. I'll try to do some editing. What you do is you lift up the pressure here, and then you pull out the red lever. Okay, I'm gonna have to try to do this here. Aha, so there, you pull out that red lever, and then the seat folds down, and you do have a flat cargo shelf here, which is a wonderful feature. That, of course, great for things like golf clubs. So yes, you can fit golf clubs in your 911. I think a better implementation of where to put golf clubs than in a Corvette, which mandates that you have space for 2 sets of golf clubs, hence making the C8 bulbous in the rear. Okay, there's your back seat. Surprisingly, it's actually has more leg room than a modern 911 rear seat does, which is a surprise, although I still would not want to sit back there. Actually, you know what? Let's see. I'm going to do this for you, folks. I'm going to try to get in. Oh, my hips fit. Oh, boy. Okay. Can I get both feet in around the seatbelt? Okay, I got both feet in. And technically, I fit. I fit. It's technical, but I do fit. Oh, boy. Just had a moment there where I thought to myself, what if this lever doesn't go up and I have to call somebody over to help me get out? That would be bad. Oh, not for adults, but children certainly would fit. I think the headroom is maybe the bigger problem there. I did it. I fit. Okay, moving on into the car. The seats, beautifully bolstered, I would say. These Porsche sports seats, which look like a modern seat does call back to these. So what you'll see a lot of 911 owners will grab this window here, which I think is silly because you can just grab the handle, but maybe on other ones they didn't have it. Here's your lock. This is interesting. The lock is a knob. Okay. Here's your door handle. And then in the side of the door here, you have a little pocket, which I love, and they stopped doing in 911s after the 997 generation. For whatever reason, you got your window switches, you got speakers, you have that beautiful front dash. The steering wheel, to my knowledge, does not adjust. You've got, this has an aftermarket Momo steering wheel. Horn does work. You've got your classic 5 gauges for your 911. You've got tack in the middle, oil pressure temp on the left, gas and oil level all the way to the left. To the right, you've got your speedometer, odometer, trip computer. And here in the center, you've got your clock. And it is correct. About 11 minutes after 6 p.m. Now, here's a weird thing for you folks. Look at this. For HVAC, you've got what appears to be fan speed here and temp. Fan speed, temp, okay? You've got position, top and bottom. You've got defrost on and off. Makes sense. Then you go down here, and then you've got another fan speed. I don't know what this knob is. It's probably for air conditioning. And then down here, you've got some defrosters on and off. So on for the front, on for the rear, on and off. And then here, I don't even know what this is. This more defrosters. It's crazy, right? Wild stuff. Okay, radio does not have the original radio. Here you can see your, I'm guessing your fog lights down bottom. Here are your normal headlights. Here we have your glove box, standard glove box. Does it have some gloves in it? It does. Ooh, and they're Porsche branded. I like that. Vents, super short dash with a very upright window. And I gotta be honest, I absolutely love that, the classic 911 look. And you have a canopy in here that is so open and airy that I just love. And of course, up front there, we've got the 2 sets of headlights. So you can really point to the edge of the car when you're trying to drive spiritedly. Okay, we have some seat controls here. These appear to adjust the front and the rear height of the seats. And then here down on bottom, this to the left, that is your slider. And then to the right is actually how you adjust your tilt on your seat. Hazards, parking brake, no real center console. Ooh, ashtray right in the middle. I did figure this out. This here is your sunroof switch here on the left. This is some sort of headlight switch. I don't know. This switch, I don't have any idea. I have no idea what that's for. You've got your turn signals here and then your wiper stalks. And then lastly, on this side, you have your, Well, on this side, you have your wing mirror adjust. Side mirrors. You've got vanity mirrors here. You got the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to get going now, folks, and I will back to the studio. Well, back to the car. Back to the car review. Goodbye. Okay, and we're back. We're back, baby. I say we're back, but all my footage on my drive over here has been lost, unfortunately. Here's to hoping, let's hope, that we don't lose any of the footage for the drive back. So I guess I could start to give you some impressions of the car. So first impressions, the transmission, lovely. The 5-speed, which for 88 is genuinely impressive, but this is a Porsche after all, so they would have the better technology. The clutch, extremely heavy. My left leg is getting tired, would not want to commute in this car. It is, which is how Porsches used to be made, bottom hinged. So it's more of a push down than a push forward. I prefer a top hinged, but that's because I was born in 1987, a year before this car was produced. And, you know, I think it's a little bit easier, but I think you'd get used to it after, you know, just a small amount of time. Not a lot of room. I am 6'2", and I fit in the car, you know, just fine. Look, I've got this much headroom there, so really not bad. I'm a little grasshoppering right now because I have a strange body type in that while I am 6'2", it's more in the leg. So if you are 6'2", I would imagine that you'll probably be closer up here on the top, but then you wouldn't be as far away from the steering wheel as I am. Do we have to do the grasshopper? What I mean by that is, like, you know, my legs are very bent. The good thing about modern cars is you can really get the steering wheel back with now that they telescope. That was not the case back then. So I'm a little more straight armed than I might otherwise be for a performance driving car. The brakes also quite heavy. And the throttle at low speeds, hard to modulate a bit, but as soon as you start pushing the car, it just comes alive above 3,000 RPM, 3,000, 3,500. The car, that's where it's happy. It's not happy at slow speeds, which is, you know, that tells me this thing wants to be driven. It's got great steering characteristics. I love the steering wheel, the Momo. It's doing it, it's working for me. It's all working for me. This does not have power steering, and for this car, I don't think that it needs it. Even at slow speeds, it's not bad. My suspicion is because there's not a ton of weight over the front axle, in the same way that 944 that I drove a few weeks ago did have the engine over the front axle, which made it more difficult to turn at low speeds. The foot box is rather small here, and so I think with my size 11 Brooks running shoes that maybe a smaller shoe would be prudent for driving this car. You know, here's something funny about Porsches that I've always found. Their turn signals always feel cheap to me, even in my current generation 718 GT4, my current generation, even in my GT4. Okay, here we go, folks. We're gonna have a little bit of Spirited driving. That was very fun. That was very fun. Now we'll see how my heel toe downshifts do here. We'll see if I'll even have an opportunity. There is zero chance that I'm going to be able to heel toe with this center console thing in the way. If that center console thing wasn't there, I bet I could. Yeah, well, maybe. I'll give it another try, but it's really going to have to be the heel of my foot. I'm not going to be able to roll over the ball of my foot onto it because the way the center console is designed, it's just not going to fit. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I'm getting understeer. Getting a bit of understeer, along with some just slide. To be expected, I guess. A bit of understeer. Nope, no chance I'm gonna be able to heel toe on this thing. Nope, sorry. My foot and my ankle, my personal dimensions are not conducive to it happening. Yeah, the brake pedal's just not going down far enough. Brake in a straight line. Throttle out of the corner. No ABS. Modulate those brakes. You heard the brake squeal. Boy, this car is fun. You can lock up those brakes really easy. We got a GPS fix. I can do better than that. 9.58. I know I can do better than that. Well, .10. Okay, I slowed down there. All right, we got our turnaround up here. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna brake in a straight line, no lift off. Heavy steering. Neutral, honestly neutral all the way. Okay, so the steering was neutral. I was expecting some understeer there, and it was neutral. I like this little shortcut. Yeah, neutral turning. That's great. All right, bumpy road test. Not too shabby. The Germans, I don't get it. With the exception of that Volkswagen that I drove, that thing handled bumps terribly. This is like not bad. It's not the best. So yeah, I think I could get a better launch with more gas. You know, you just get so much traction as the weight transfers onto the rear wheels there. So, you know, like anything, especially with these older cars, it's not point and click like it was, you know, like it might be today with things like launch control. You really need to be a good driver to get the fastest launches, you know, and really get the most out of the car. And so, you know, I think that's ultimately a good thing, because modern cars have made speed so accessible to folks, which is fun, but I think they lose the respect. You know, that's the beauty of these older cars is, you know, they can be temperamental, but everything's fixable. And the 911's so popular, it's not like some obscure, you know, British sports car. They only made 200 of them. They made a lot of 911s. So there are lots of people that can work on them, lots of parts available. It's really great. Okay, folks, if I don't get to keep driving, this has been a joy. So much fun. So much fun. Any chance you can drive a 911 is a good day. Any chance. Absolutely any chance. I'll tell you what, I am a happy guy. I loved the car. Neutral, heavy steering, heavy clutch, heavy throttle, heavy. It's been fun. So if I don't get to keep driving, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.